with, just forget about the sort of mirror ball face going on, but we'll be walking around and devices, contexts, locations, and people will surface different types of interactions and interfaces that will really become just a part of life. Cool. So, how we doing for time? All right, cool. What's going on here? Sorry, guys. So I've never done a 1 hour talk, so instead I did 4 15-minute talks. Easy. Though they're all connected. I do a 10-week course, though, if you want to listen to me talk for 80 hours? 50? Feels like 80. Just to speak to, before we go on, there is a bit of a these kind of wearable devices all well and good if they end up existing. But every single major corporation, is like Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Facebook, are all investing really heavily in the space. But I think probably the biggest indicator of not just this is going to go boom and like go off or anything like that. More just that it's useful technology and people are investing in it. Is Apple recently acquired. Let me have a look here. Aconia Holographics, a really well established, like 12 years or so, originally holographic memory storage, but then holographic display and augmented reality display. So those kind of big institutional investments in the hardware suggest relatively, I guess pretty good modeling about the development of the use cases. Another really important example, I think, is the way Facebook looks at extended reality software development. So there was leaked letters by Mark Zuckerberg about buying Unity, which is the spatial computing engine that I use to do my work. And the way that he presented it to the parties was not about it being like this good investment because it was going to take off, but literally like risk management, because there's a good chance that that will be where the next computing platform emerges, essentially. And to be safe from that, they have to be investing money into making sure that they're on that platform and they lead that platform and they own that platform, because if they're just stuck as a mobile app, then they may as well be a newspaper salesperson or sales team or whatever. I don't know how newspapers work either. Cool. So that being said, why use XR? Where else could it be useful? So I've got a few examples here. One is marketing, and not just marketing, but content and culture. I think that if we look at the way the world works today, and the way that it's always worked from the printing press to today, to probably even the first time someone said the king stinks and carved it on a wall, is that the way we disseminate content is such an integral part of our culture, what makes us us, and it's also such an integral part of our economy. Oh, rude. Cool, that's alright, that's fine. I wonder who it is. Is it someone here? What was I talking about? Marketing. Alright, I'm going to have to hang up on you. Sorry, buddy. I gotta look at my notes. So, anything that has a higher impact, anything that cuts through the noise. You know, we're all so chuffed when Facebook first recommended a thing that we were looking for 10 years ago. You know, like, wow, how do they know? That's so handy. It's a bit weird though. But now it's just like, you literally would have to have like someone dressed as like a relative like appear in your Facebook feed and be like, I know your name. Hey, I've got a tent for you. I know you're going camping. Like, we just tune it out. We ignore it. We've kind of grown immune to it. And in that arms race, obviously, they're finding more and more ways, like, you know, using social proof to make it seem like all your friends like it, things like that as well. But the reality is with spatial and immersive content, this was from a study done by Zappa, but basically people engaging with spatial content, it just activated their brains more. And part of that is that it also, obviously it's new and exciting, but I think the reality is, if anyone's tried VR, AR, and spatial computing, is that it's just a higher bandwidth of communication. When you can interact with an object, when an object inhabits your space, it just becomes significantly more real. So it's not just a matter of, oh, well, that'd be nice, I work in marketing, maybe I'll give it a go. Your competitors will be delivering via mobile for the moment. So let's go back to the world where your computer does exist, or it's a mobile phone. Your competitors, you've got your Facebook ad, you've got your marketing campaign, you've got your blog post. Your competitors will be surfacing content in the user's world. Your competitors will be using the user's mobile phone to get them to understand the world and share their world with their AI and say, hey, wouldn't your product look nice here? Wouldn't your product look nice here? I've just got some fun examples of some of the, this isn't a marketing campaign, but just some of the sort of like entertainment culture stuff that we've done at Foria for the city of Melbourne. I'll just leave that running while I have a little chat about that. So you can imagine, part of the reason I brought this up is you can imagine being a brand in the future, right? You've got to sell a lawnmower, a bicycle. What do people buy? I don't know. I literally only buy computers. So that's why I'm so excited about not having computers anymore. And you've got your Facebook ad or whatever. And then imagine if your competitor can actually deliver this content into their world with them. It helps them with product visualization. It helps them build a personal relationship with it as well. And then when you tie it to this idea that, so we're working with Google at the moment, which is really great, the Google Zoo team. We actually had a Google producer visit Academy XI on the weekend, which was pretty cool. And he said this, he used this term camera first. And I realized what's happening is the next battle is going to be for the camera lens, right? That's really the next platform, is being able to give mega corporation basically access to your camera feed. And what they're going to be able to do with that is then tailor content for you, recommend content for you, but most importantly, give you interactive and engaging brand experiences. But as part of that, we'll also be able to deliver, for example, shout out to the ABC virtual team, is that they will be able to deliver news experiences to you. And a lot of that is happening on, basically it's going to be a battle between Snapchat lens, Snapchat, Instagram, which is basically Facebook, or the Facebook lens, and then actually Google lens, which is actually the name of their product. So these three camera vision products, essentially, that will then be the new sort of marketing battleground, where it's like, okay, cool, when I pull up my Facebook lens, an advertiser's paid to make sure that it understands that I'm at a bar, and so it puts a little beer bottle on the table and says, give me a drink, or whatever people do at bars. I'm not too sure. So how do we escape? It's got to be an easier way. Imagine if instead of me having this little thing, we all inhabited a virtual space, and I could bring up content and examples, and depending on your own interests, you could actually grab them and add them to your own little digital memory bank. This whole business is going to seem incredibly archaic in probably, I reckon, about, well, let's say 20 years, realistically. Cool. So that creates a whole bunch of new challenges for people with marketing. You have the ability to bring your story into people's world, and even with, as much as I hate it, culture, marketing, entertainment, commerce, it's all kind of one mishmash at the moment. Always has been, though. Leonardo da Vinci was sponsored by the Medicis. Very vicious warlords. So we have the ability to surface content based on where people are, what they're doing. So this is an example of our project with Abbotsford with Melbourne for Melbourne Connect. So all of a sudden you have this ability to understand where people are, surface content to them. It sounds really great.